I don't know about you, but I love it when a hi-fi product pulls off a disappearing act. When something becomes so integrated into your system, so easy to live with, and so free of fuss that it just sort of vanishes. Anytime a product stops making you think about the gear and lets you get back to the music, well, in my book, that's a win. For the past few months, I've moved Simaudio's Moon 371 network player amplifier in and out of my system, integrating it with all types of setup, ranging from budget-friendly to cost-no-object. I connected it to multiple TVs, streamed music through it, ran physical sources into it, and even paired it with my Wison Audio Sabrina V speakers, just to see what would happen. And through all of that, the 371 rarely made me think about the 371, which, depending on how you look at it, may be its greatest strength. And that kind of disappearing act doesn't happen by accident. The Moon 371, backed by an almost unheard of 10-year warranty, is a do-it-all, high-end hi-fi product, and that's immediately apparent the second you unbox it. While the 371 shares a lot of the same industrial design seen in the Compass series, arguably Simaudio's entry-level line, there's nothing entry-level about this amp. The materials, fit and finish, and vivid color screen, all top-notch. With that kind of confidence, I just threw caution to the wind and I paired the Moon with my Sabrina Vs, a speaker no audiophile or amplifier manufacturer would call easy from a pairing perspective. And yet, with what looks like a modest 100 watts into 8 ohms and 200 watts into 4, albeit using Moon's own MDCA or distortion canceling amplifier technology, that pairing never felt like a mistake. Even when faced with the Wilson's 4 ohm and sometimes closer to 2 ohm load, the Moon remained composed and in complete control. The 371 is smooth, effortlessly smooth, in a way that makes it very easy to stop evaluating and just listen. It's not the most transparent or dynamically grippy amplifier that I've heard, especially in the lowest bass notes, but apart from those caveats, it's trouble-free. It didn't matter what I played through the Moon. It always sounded good, great, even, and more often than not, that was enough to keep me listening. And it was that ease that kept pulling me back to the 371, sometimes even over higher-priced alternatives that we have in-house. Like the Naim CI Uniti 102 we reviewed last month, the Moon slotted into our lifestyle in a way that complemented it rather than, fought it. Over the past months, I've connected the Moon to 2 different Hisense TVs, the 116-inch U7 and the newer UR8, both over HDMI, and it handled music and movies at a high level while still giving me physical connections and wireless convenience, when I didn't want a giant screen distracting me. And compared directly to the Naim 102, the Moon's Class AB amp has a slightly different tone. Now, some would classify it as warmer compared to the more neutral but not sterile sound of the Class D Naim. That smoother, more forgiving quality made the 371 very easy to listen to for long stretches without feeling like I was being pushed into reviewer mode. With longtime favorites from Billy Joel to Moby, I found myself listening more and just analyzing less. Its mid-range and top-end refinement, along with its subtle mellowness, won me over more often than I expected. And paired to a revealing speaker like the Sabrina V, whose top end can shine light on just about every flaw in a recording, the Moon never made that pairing feel punishing. And that matters because one of the asterisks often associated with high-end gear is that their more exacting nature can just make certain recordings harder to enjoy. And I rarely ran into that problem. It still sounded refined and appropriately hi-fi, but it didn't make me feel like I had to choose my music based on what was recorded well. The one area where the Moon would occasionally remind me it was there was in the lowest bass. I'm someone who likes a bit of quickness and grip, that start and stop ability that makes an amp feel, locked in. And if a Class AB amp like the legendary Krell Evolution 402 or 302E represents a 10 for me in that regard, the Moon was closer to a 7 or 8. Definitely not soft in a way that made it sound lightweight, just not quite as firm or as resolved as some others, including the Musical Fidelity M6XI, which gets closer to a 9 in the bass department. That slight softness in the lowest bass blunts dynamics a bit, which is partly why I would describe the 371 as smoother and more relaxed than some amps. But it didn't collapse the soundstage or rob the Moon of focus. Through the Wilsons, the 371 created a stable, well-defined image between the speakers with center imaging that was especially locked in. Intelligibility was also better than I expected, given the amp's, more polite demeanor, and that is something Christy noticed too. Now, compared to something like the D'Agostino Pendulum integrated amplifier, whose base price starts at 18 grand, the Moon almost starts to look approachable by high-end standards. The Moon is every bit as well built as the Pendulum. Both give you a machined aluminum chassis, but they go about it in very different ways. The D'Agostino leans heavily into the polished steampunk aesthetic, whereas the Moon keeps things cleaner and more understated. Spec-wise, the comparison is closer than the price difference might suggest. The Pendulum is rated at 120 watts per channel into 8 ohms and 240 into 4, so yes, it has more power on paper. But compared to the Moon, we're talking about roughly 20% more output and not some, massive gulf. Both amps also double their output into 4 ohms, which to me is the more meaningful takeaway when you're talking about powering difficult-to-drive loudspeakers. And that difference gets even more interesting once you start to factor in HDMI. The D'Agostino can be fitted with an optional DAC board that includes HDMI, but it adds another 2 or 3 grand to the price, and it still doesn't give you CEC, meaning no control over HDMI. The Moon, meanwhile, gives you full HDMI stereo support, including CEC right out of the box. So if you're already shopping in the high-end space, the Moon does make a certain amount of sense as a more obtainable, more lifestyle-friendly way into this kind of polished all-in-one experience. The problem is, once you step outside the high-end bubble, $6,500 is still $6,500. And look, for some people, whether we're talking 6 grand or 20 grand, price simply isn't a deciding factor. But if price is part of the equation, every win in the pro column starts to matter. And while the Moon gives me very little to complain about subjectively, especially given how I prefer to live with and interact, with modern hi-fi equipment, I'm not sure it does enough for every buyer to clearly separate itself. For me, I love it when a product fades into the background and lets me get back to the music. But when that product costs $6,500, disappearing can't be the whole story. And this is where having a deep product bench starts to reveal what a product does and doesn't, do better than the rest. When I compared the Moon to other products that we've had in-house, from Naim to Musical Fidelity, even to the WiiM, it became easier to see where the 371 overlaps and where it doesn't quite pull ahead. The Naim feels more effortless from a user experience standpoint. The Musical Fidelity gives you more of the grip and the drive that I personally like. And the WiiM Amp Ultra, for a fraction of the price, makes the connected side of modern hi-fi feel far more current. Take the Moon Mind Controller app. Look, I'm glad it exists, and I appreciate that it gives the 371 access to both locally stored music and streaming services like Spotify and Tidal Connect. And I know some of you are going to appreciate that it is Roon ready. That said, compared to what Naim, WiiM, and EverSolo are all doing for less money, the Mind app feels a little bit behind. It works, but it doesn't feel as polished or as intuitive or just visually in step with the hardware it controls. And unlike the Naim or the WiiM, the Moon doesn't offer features like EQ or room correction, which makes the connected side of the 371 feel more traditional than modern. Moving on to the phono stage, I love that Moon supports both moving magnet and moving coil cartridges, especially since my reference turntable from Cambridge Audio is moving coil. The built-in phono preamp is definitely serviceable, but I have heard built-in phono stages in less expensive integrated amps deliver equal, if not better, dynamics and clearer channel separation. The Musical Fidelity M6Xi being one of them. And this is where I have to put my reviewer hat back on, because as a listener, I'm very happy with the Moon. It sounds great, it's beautifully made, and it is so easy to live with. And in our system, it did a lot of what I personally want a modern hi-fi product to do. And if you live with audio the way I do, or if you're one of the viewers who recommended that I spend more time with Simaudio in the first place, I think you're going to be quite happy with the 371 as well. But reviews can't happen inside the vacuum of my own life. I have to look at the whole product. And in a market where great sound, streaming, HDMI, app control, and serious power are no longer exclusive to expensive hi-fi, the Moon starts to feel less like the obvious high-end answer and more like a very good component surrounded by increasingly competitive alternatives.